Hello everyone, my name is Sarah Grett, and this is my senior project, Hidden History. How many of you have ever driven past the Bull Mobile gas station? How many of you have ever been to or eaten at the Qingling Li Chinese restaurant? Those are some pretty well-known areas of Bo. I wanted to introduce you to another landmark in Bo that's in the same area. It is this beautiful sycamore tree that resides across the street from the Bull Mobile gas station in between the 89 off-ramp and overpass. This is a little piece of hidden history in Bo, and I want to let you know about it. So this is Images of America, the Bo edition, a book that captures the history of Bo from the very beginning until now. And these two pictures are both from the 1800s. The first one is captured. Students of the Bo Mills Brick School pose with their sleds and toboggan at recess time. Pearlie Wheeler's barn can be seen in the background, and the tall tree, a sycamore or plane tree, still stands today across from the Bull Mobile gas station and inside the Interstate 89 loop. The second image is captured. The Colby blacksmith shop is directly behind the car, and the Pearlie Wheeler farm can be seen on the left. In both images, the tree is circled. So since these images are from the 1800s, it can be estimated that this tree is over 200 years old. So that's pretty significant. So today in my presentation, I'd like to cover the three things I wanted to accomplish with my project. Firstly, I wanted to register the tree as a big tree of New Hampshire. Secondly, remove the vines growing on the tree. And thirdly, create awareness of this historical landmark. I want to accomplish all these steps in order to preserve the tree for future generations to see. So the first step of my project was working with the New Hampshire Big Tree Association, which is a UNH extension program. In 1950, the New Hampshire Big Tree Program began an effort to find, record, and recognize New Hampshire's magnificent individual trees. It includes over 1,000 county, state, and national champions. And champions are determined on size, which is based on circumference and height. So the first part of my project was to submit a nomination form with the measurements of this tree. And so that meant me and my mom had to go over and measure the tree. And as you can see from this image, the leaves of this tree are well over the size of my head. So that kind of gives you a grasp of how large this tree actually is. Secondly, I needed to find out who owned the land the tree was on in order to get permission to go out and get measurements. Now this is where I got most of my hours, because I got the runaround over and over and over again, because no one seemed to have any of the information I needed. So to start my journey, I worked with the town Department of Development, and we went through their paper records, all their online documents, and every single piece of information that they had. And it turns out that every single piece of Bo is documented in this office except for the one sliver of land the tree is on. So they sent me to my next target, which was the Department of Transportation. So since we figured it was between the highway and the off-ramp, we thought that maybe they knew something about it. So I was given one number, and I was talking to them for a while, and they determined that they wouldn't be able to help me. So I went to another number, another extension of the Department of Transportation, who finally sent me to the big man at the HQ. And they decided that Richard was the guy I needed, he had all the information I needed, and they gave me back the original number I started out with. And we could not find out who Richard was, who was the missing piece. So then I decided to go another route. And I talked to the Merrimack County Register of Deeds, thinking if anyone owned the land, their deed would be there. And they sent me back saying, Richard is your man, he has all the information you need, and they gave me the original number. Who's Richard? We could not figure that out, he was the missing man, and we talked phone call after phone call trying to find out who he was. So then I went a different route. And I went to the Bo Heritage Commission, who has the history of everything in Bo. So we figured if anyone ever owned it, these people would know. And they looked me in the eye and they asked me, what tree are you talking about? And so I went and did a presentation at one of their monthly meetings, and it turns out that these residents were children before the interstate was put in, and they used to slide at the sliding hill every year and slide right past this tree. And still, they didn't even know it was there this day. So they let me, we finally talked to the different residents, and we found out that it was probably owned by the state. So I reached out to District 5, who's in charge of all the highway maintenance and road maintenance in the area. And we finally got permission to go out and get measurements. So I reached back out to the Big Tree Extension Program, and we finally decided on time to go out and measure the tree. So we got to use all their fun little gadgets and everything, and we got the circumference, the height of the tree, and the width of the canopy. So after a couple hours of getting all the data points, it turns out both of them have their degrees in forestry. So we were talking about the biodiversity of the area, and it turns out that that little sliver of land had over 15 species of invasive species growing there. So that led me to my second point of my project, which was removing the invasive vines that were growing on the tree that were going to potentially lead to the death or damage of the tree. So in order to preserve it for future generations, we decided to get rid of these. This was a very, very tedious process as we had to cut, untangle, and take down for almost 6 hours of work. So I recruited my family and we got at it. And as you can see, the vines took out my brother a couple times and it was just a complete mess. But through our hard work and my family's dedication, we were able to cut down the little tree surrounding the tree, impeding its growth, and took down all the vines until the tree was clear. And that brings me to my third part of my project, which I wanted to bring awareness to this tree because with awareness comes preservation. So through the New Hampshire Department of the Big Tree Program, they decided that they were going to put out my project on their social medias, their monthly blog, and in their future yearly calendar. And so this reaches the right community, people who care about preservation of large trees in the area. So hopefully this tree will stand for years to come. I'd like to thank Eric Anderson and the Bow Heritage Commission for their support. Eric Anderson provided some of the pictures shown in this presentation today. Any questions?